Whenever you're ready.
It's 8:30. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Or just go over budget items. There's some extras in there too.
So I just want your challenge.
Yeah. And then you guys have the recommended salary stuff, so. So on this first part, stapled part, it's just going through the general fund of what is currently in for the Form 1. I'm going to tell you guys up front that just found out today that this could all change. So,
Circuit breaker.
no, it's the fire territory. They are still running the numbers on that, and it's still not been input. So the recommendation, Bill talked to the director at GLGF, and it was recommended that we push off the hearing and the passage until October. That's really pushing it to the last time. So as of right now, we're still going to go with trying to get this set up, advertised, and all that stuff by the 11th. But if those numbers don't come in this week or next week, we may end up pushing it a little bit because there's different dates that you have to set. You've got to put the notice in the gateway, and then so many days later, then you have the public hearing, and then 10 days later, then you guys can pass it. But it's all that timeline, and we got to do all that before November 1st. So, and we have to have quorum and all that for the passing. So we don't want to set it up for the last day and then it not have everybody. But as of right now, if the numbers go as we were thinking, this is kind of what it would look like. And so the first page, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are your personnel services, our employee salaries, elected, the FICA, retirement, all that stuff. And that's based on the recommendations that I had in that, the salaries. So those could change a little bit based on discussions that were had. And then next you've got the supplies out of the general fund. Those were, and we get those numbers that will be advertised based on what was spent this year for the first 6 months and what we think we're going to spend next year possibly, or if we know that there's something bigger or not as much. So then once you get onto page 3, the main general fund has stopped, and as of right now, we're looking at $750,000 for the general fund as the advertised rate. And then the next item is your local road and streets. And for that one, we've got $45,000 is what we're looking at being able to spend for that. And then our MVH, which includes our MVH regular as well as the MVH restricted fund, which is just for streets. The other MVH can be used for different things. Like you'll see, we've got employee salaries and in there. So just a little portion of that to kind of help alleviate some of the other funds. That's not something we plan to do all the time every year, but for right now, it's fine. So that's the total of those two is $95,000. The cumulative capital cigarette tax fund, we really don't, we're getting a little bit in there, but there's not enough to really allocate to spend. So the recommendation would be just to leave that, let it build up a little bit. The CCD, we put in 25,000 in there, and that can go towards equipment. And I know Austin had mentioned something earlier with the vehicle. So right now in the CCD, you guys had budgeted 100,000 in there, and you guys had already encumbered funds to pay for that one zero-turn mower. there's still the 100,000 in there. So if you guys did want to purchase another vehicle and got those quotes, whatever vehicle it was, you could encumber those funds for this year, go ahead and spend that, and then still get the 25,000 budgeted for next year and use that for something else. So, and with the 100,000, I was told that if you ordered a car, that it was looking around 65,000, because I was talking to True because they were talking about selling or buying another one and selling an old one. But she said the new ones were about 65,000 is what they were running. So if you did that, you could still get that and a new mower, because we paid 16, almost 17 for that one.
Is that 65,000 road ready, like all the computers and lights and everything? No? So we're
Yeah,
doing,
well,
because all,
it's
you're just picking it out, so.
right, it's potential, but it just, it depends on what vehicle you get. You know what your costs are.
Back in 2020, I think the vehicle was like 40 something, and then after we outfitted it, it was around 54, 55.
So maybe.
I have prices for
I think the top is around like 60 to 62,000 before, and then it's about 15, 20,000. But it just depends on what you put in there for, right? Like, our last bill was in that vehicle, so it's gonna cost more.
A little bit more.
There's like $10,000 extra cost.
Okay. That's what I was curious. Hidden cost, not so hidden.
Or if it covers just the vehicle this time, and then you can get this mower
Right.
out of the 25 from next year. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so then the next line in there is that special fire protection territory general. So instead of them being a department within the general fund, they will have their own fund. As of right now, the way the numbers were looking, what was given to us, it looks like they should be able to have a budget of about 83.5. Again, those numbers though may be completely off skewed. We're not sure. So I haven't even went with Justin as far as working out his budget, but these lines in here are basically what he had as the department. And then we just moved them over and kind of padded some of them that were, and that could all be moved around next year. It's not set in stone on as far as those numbers, but just based on if there's 83,005, that's where we could place them for right now. And hopefully that is the amount that they're going to get, but until those numbers come out, we're just not going to know. And then they, with that too, because this would be the first year, if it is passed, they won't have that all up front because the property taxes come in June and come in December. So they would only actually have about 16,000 that they'd be able to spend at the beginning of the year. That's based on the township, the money that's going to come from them at the end of the year. So they'll have about 16,000 to spend and then 83.5. So if those numbers are correct, that's actually going to be a low year for them. The next year they would actually have more, about 160 something thousand, if those numbers stay in line. Yeah. So changing over to the territory is great if that's the way all the numbers end up working. And then they also have their CUME fund, and in that there could possibly be more, but start out at 50,000 unless they had something specific that they, because you don't want them to, they don't want to spend all of it at once. You want to build that up for something big and major, but you also want to have something in there so if something came up, a repair or something or replacement, there would be enough in there to do that without having to ask for an additional appropriation and taking that time to do that. And then the next one is your riverboat distribution. There's about 10,000 that's available to utilize for that, which can go for anything in the general for next year. And then the Eat It, 80,000 there could be utilized. And within those lines, if you look on that last one, we've allocated a little bit for downtown revitalization. If Discover Oxford were to do something and you guys wanted to, that would just allocate some money specifically to that. We did that this year as well. The benches, when you guys did, it was a donation, so it came out of promotion. It didn't come out of that. So, and then, yeah, that was the last line. So grand total of 1,138,500 would be the
Or that's just.
So this would be the full, all the different funds.
Okay, we're just
The
looking at
actual,
general.
just the general fund is 750,000, and then the fire protection is, yeah. Each one's got their own. And then the pages after that are color-coded pages. Yeah. So these, you guys don't have to have approval from DLGF. It's just, you don't even have to create a budget, but it has been very nice having the budget. It kind of tells where we're at and what was in those funds and what's not in those funds. And after getting through that first 6 months, definitely glad that you guys decided to do the rate study. And when that comes in, our wastewater is literally like what's coming in is what's going out. There's nothing left. So this budget, absolutely nothing left. And everything in there will be spent. Like, the water is a little bit better off, but it's still kind of tight. We're not putting in, at least with the water, we're putting something into depreciation, but it's only gonna be like 5,000. That's it, yeah. And yeah. Outside that, you can see the lines for each thing in there as well, if there's any questions on any of those. And then these would just be approved by you guys on the outside of the general budget. And we'll do those all at the same time, and then hopefully the salary ordinance as well. Nope, you guys, I was gonna ask you guys just to kind of, just to get the okay that everything looks good, that we'll go ahead and put that in, but we're gonna have we'll have our meeting, the Monday meeting, so I can let you guys at least know then, hey, nothing changed, or are you guys comfortable with changing to fit in with this amount now, or do you want to have another special meeting? So we'll just go that route with those. So, I've been looking every day for updates and then, yeah, today was just the email.
Really nice work.
And yeah, if you guys did have any questions about where those numbers came up from, or if you think that something seems off, and yeah, where that came, I didn't, that one comes out, but I didn't make copies of those, but I do have like, not fully itemized, but like what was paid out of professional services, how much that was for each of those funds. So if you guys have any of those questions now or later, you can come and check with me. That was it.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, so.
All those in favor? Aye. Yeah, thank you. This is really nice.